streaming again. But this time the stream is evil. You know why it's evil? Because I don't know. I don't know much about these games I'm going to be playing. I guess that's true of a lot of games I've played, but I don't know. This feels like there's a lot of risk. They're like very small indie games. And I don't know a lot about the stories I'm going to be reading either. Except for maybe one or two that I might choose to read. What's also evil is that I'm not the best read out loud kind of person. Never was in school, and it hasn't changed much. But I'm gonna do my best. Got a whole new day for night dimension that I'm gonna be reading the stories in. But you'll see later. Uh-oh. Okay, is this better? I don't know what was going on. I had to, like, stop streaming in OBS for a second and, resume streaming, so hopefully it'll be better now. Very spooky, squeaky chair there. Glimdark is here. Alright, cool. Also, hello, Rachel. Actually, I'll wait one more minute because it's been 12. Oh, never mind, it's been 13, so I'll go ahead and start streaming. I was gonna say 12 has always been my unlucky number, and especially on Halloween, it wouldn't be good to start streaming after the unlucky number of minutes had passed. Hang on, that might be pretty loud. Okay, for some reason, oh heck, apparently there was a cutscene going while I was fiddling around with OBS. Yeah, I'm glad you hear the spooky tunes, but I'm waiting on OBS to actually pick up the spooky imagery. The undead sorcerer lurks. Hold on. This is what makes a jig stream a jig stream. Last minute technical problems. I'm sure it can be fun. This is probably going to be a running theme for tonight, because, like, especially one of the games, I've only, like, briefly tried them out to make sure they work. And, one of them was playing in, like, this really weirdly small window. Like, tiny. And also, Windows thought it was a virus. Okay, I guess for now we're gonna You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go straight to the day for night dimension so I can read stories. Oh my god, really? Okay. Are we streaming now? Seems like we are. Fucking hell. There's some last minute internet horribleness, but I'm just gonna go ahead and transfer over to the campfire in the day for night dimension. If this stream just has to be reading stories, that'll be fine. Wait a minute, I just realized I may not have been getting picked up by the audio. There we go. So, this is the book I will be reading from. It's this.
Using magic to check if Frankenstein is nearby. He is within 2 miles of your house.
Oh fuck, Frankenstein's coming. Should be a really good party then. Let's see. I'm gonna start with the one called Skyway, which takes place in St. Petersburg, Florida. Again, apologies if I'm not the best reader of stories. Dark clouds were rolling in fast from the Gulf as I made my way down the highway towards St. Petersburg in my 18-wheeler. I was making good time, so I kept up a steady pace and listened to NPR on the radio as heavy storm clouds moved across the sky, bringing an eerie green dusk with them. I caught a glimpse of lightning on the edge of the horizon and did a quick bit of calculating. If I kept up the speed I was going, chances were that I'd hit the Sunshine Skyway Bridge around the same time as the storm. I didn't relish going across the 15-mile-long, quote-unquote, engineering masterpiece during a downpour, but luck wasn't with me. I kept rolling, and so did the clouds, and we were both headed for that skyway. As the storm grew closer, the trees started bending in the gusty wind. It grew so dark, I flipped on the lights. I could see the bridge ahead of me, and the sweep of my headlights caught something else. A blonde figure in a white sweater was trudging heavily along the side of the road just up ahead, approaching the bridge. My pulse gave a bang of alarm. The Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which crossed Tampa Bay, had more than its share of, suicides. The slumped shoulders and air of grief pouring off the lone figure in front of me told me this might be another one if someone didn't do something. Typical of our day and age, the cars ahead just rushed past without stopping, but I slowed down. My mama had raised me in the church, and I knew it would be on my heart for a long time if I didn't try to stop that poor young girl trudging out onto the long Skyway Bridge just before a terrible thunderstorm. I pulled alongside the blonde girl just as a strobe of lightning lit the sky overhead. I rolled my window down and called to her, but my words were lost in the resulting clap of thunder.
Add that to your inventory.
Thanks, Glimdark. I had to repeat myself before the lonely figure, so wrapped up in grief she hadn't even noticed my truck pulling over, looked around and saw me. You look like you could use a lift, I said easily, giving her my best smile. You don't want to be caught on the bridge in this storm. Her face was pale and wan. I'm not sure what that word is. There were lines of grief and pain around her eyes and lips. Strange to see in one so young. I mean, not really. She hesitated a moment, staring into my eyes. Chills ran up and down my arms at her look. There was something almost unearthly about it, as if, in her mind, she'd already crossed over to the other side. Then she gave me a very faint smile and nodded. "Hop in," I said, as the first spatters of rain hit my windshield and a heavy gust of wind made the huge truck sway. The girl bridged the few yards between us at a run as the heavens opened up. She jumped into the passenger's seat just as the rain began pouring down with its own kind of thunder. "Make sure you buckle up," I said to my passenger as I put on the blinker and edged back into the highway. She fumbled with the seatbelt and then pulled it around her as the truck, I had to turn the page there, joined the other hardy souls crossing the skyway during a torrential storm. The lightning display alone was worth the trip, though I didn't like the heavy gusting winds that made the truck jiggle and sway. It took all my experience as a trucker to keep us moving steadily as we crossed the long bridge. "Where are you bound?" I asked the girl when I felt the truck was back under my control. I had to speak quite loudly to be heard over the rat-a-tat-tat of the rain and booming thunder. The girl ducked her head so I couldn't see behind her long blonde hair. "I really don't know," she muttered, so soft I could barely hear her over the rain. I caught a glimpse of tears on her pale cheeks just before a blonde tress obscured her face. She started wringing her hands in her lap, and I figured I shouldn't push my luck. At least I'd gotten her into the truck, and unless she was truly suicidal, she probably wouldn't jump out while I was driving. At least I hoped not. "This is some storm," I said lightly, gesturing briefly as a truly enormous sheet of lightning struck the opposite shore. It was followed by a clap of thunder that made my ears ring, and once again I fought for control as the wind gusted over the span of the bridge. We were climbing toward the peak now, and the wind was a bit worse up here. Beside me, the girl straightened in alarm and clasped her hands in front of her face as if in prayer. "Dear Jesus, forgive me," she shouted suddenly. "Oh, forgive me." For a moment, I thought she really would pull open the door and fling herself headlong out of the moving truck and over the side of the bridge. Instead, she turned to face me, her blue eyes luminous in a face so pale that it seemed to glow with its own inner light. "Do you believe in God?" she asked with an intense voice. And then she vanished from the passenger seat with a small puff of cold air. I swore desperately and swerved a bit in my agitation. Not a good move on a tall bridge in a thunderstorm. It took me nearly a minute to stabilize the truck, and I wasn't sure if the pounding fear in my head and heart was caused by the disappearing girl, let's face it, the disappearing ghost, or my possibility of driving the truck off the wet bridge and joining her. I was still shaking when I reached the far end of the span, and I pulled off at the first exit advertising food. I drove around for a bit on the local roads, my body still trembling with shock and the profound, unearthly chill that filled the cab.
I'm scared of that thing.
1 second. Glimdark interrupting me and offering me a chance to hydrate real quick. Where was I? Fortunately, I found a local diner not too far from the exit and parked the truck at the back of the lot. I raced through the downpour to the nearest door. When I got inside, the server took one look at my failed pace and trembling wet body and brought me a cup of hot coffee as soon as I sat down. "On the house," she said, as I took a grateful sip, spilling some of the hot liquid on my hands and shirt since I couldn't keep the cup from trembling in my grip. She instantly grabbed napkins from the next table and washed as I wiped the spill. I drank the whole cup down and half of another one before I calmed down enough to take in my surroundings. The diner crowd hadn't arrived yet, so there were only a few patrons in the dining area and a couple of fishermen at the bar. "Wanna tell me about it?" asked the server as she handed me a menu. I gulped a bit. "Is it that obvious?" I asked as I took it from her hands. "I can tell you've had a shock of some kind," she said kindly. I nodded and then told her my story. It took a while. She sat down across from me with her pad and pencil poised as if she were about to take my order, so that the manager wouldn't yell if he saw her sitting there. And she listened with wide-eyed attention, as if she believed every word I said. It made me feel better. "I've heard about that ghost," said the server, whose name tag said Amanda, when I finished my story. "They say she was a local college student who did that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should actually say exactly what this is saying. Who jumped off the bridge after breaking up with her boyfriend. That was so long ago, I reckon. None of the cops who come here have a record of recent suicide matching her description. Still, you're not the only one to see her. It must have been really spooky." I feel bad doing a goofy voice while that's being talked about. Again, I had not read this story before now. "It was," I said, taking another sip from my second cup of coffee. "Well, thanks for telling me about it," said Amanda, rising and waving her order pad at me. You ready for something to eat?" I nodded and ordered a hamburger, quote-unquote, all the way, thinking that Amanda was very nice and pretty too. I glanced at her as she headed towards the kitchen with my order. No wedding band. Nice. This guy's creepy. I got Amanda's phone number before I headed out to my truck. She waved to me as I left and called, "Don't pick up any more hitchhikers." "Don't pick up any more hitchhikers." "I won't," I called back, waving to her over my shoulder. A practical, pretty girl like Amanda didn't come along every day, I mused. What does that mean? Not many girls would take a ghost story in their stride. She was pretty amazing. I decided that I wanted to take her out next time I drove through St. Petersburg, and that's just what I did. Many years have passed since that day. Amanda is still doing amazing things as my wife and the mother of our kids. And I am still driving my truck.
You can see me if you look close enough.
I still gotta watch Nori to Curse again this year. Amanda and I often joke about the fact that a ghost brought us together, but I haven't picked up any hitchhikers since that day. That's the story. Maybe I was a little bit harsh on our protagonist, but I watched The Wolf Man from 1941 for the first time today, and like, that movie has the most creepy fucking protagonist. Like, it starts with him like testing out a telescope, but then he points it into like a woman's room, and then he like goes over to talk to her and like try to ask her out. She keeps saying no. He doesn't take no for an answer, but the movie just keeps trying to make him look smooth. I'm like, no, god damn it. So, gonna attempt again to stream a game. Obviously, Halloween Forever, the platformer, was not wanting to be picked up by OBS for some reason. So, let's try Cursebringer, which, as I understand it, is supposed to be a text-based adventure game. Heck yeah. Mouse click equals interact. Escape equals close. Close the entire game to escape. Hold on, I gotta turn this game a little bit more down. It's pretty loud on my end.
I love killing. I love murder so fucking much.
Glimdark, you're very enthusiastic about murder. I don't think that's a good thing. Okay, analog stick. Oh god, I'm not gonna need a controller to play this, am I? You are Cursebringer, a member of a secret coven of witches. Is it coven or coven? I don't know, I'm just gonna say coven. Coven of witches responsible to carry out the death curse on marked targets. You have been summoned to headquarters in order to receive your next assignment. Start. You arrive at headquarters. The place is disguised as a corporate building. When you stop to think about it, traditional corporate buildings look the same. It's hard to know what's actually going on inside them. A perfect disguise. People come and go, wearing suits and carrying briefcases, looking indistinguishable from the rest of the company folk of the financial district. Except the briefcases are filled with spell books, pictures, and documents about marked targets, herbs, plants, and magic powders that are not cocaine, unlike most of your white-collar neighbors. You spot Chalk. Hello, my name's Chalk, working at the reception tonight. You recognize her by the tattoos on her hands and curly black hair. You know that under her suit there are more tattoos than you could count, not that you were concerned by counting them at that time. Welcome, Constance. The Elder is waiting for you in the council room. Hey, anything wrong? No, I'm just working. Why? Sounding too professional. I'm upset. It's my way to cope. Ooh, right. Because I left. Look, I had too much on my mind, and you know, I have commitment issues, but I should have messaged or something. I'm sorry. Can I make you up for it somehow? Sushi after your job. You're paying. She says while writing things down on paper. Done, if I survive. You better. I want my sushi. You should hurry. Thanks, Chalk. See you later. Bye, and hurry. Proceed. As you approach the door, it opens by itself, showing a large room with black marble floor. Candles light the marble table in the middle of the room. Only one person sits there, even though there are many chairs around the table. Good evening, Constance, says an old woman with pastel blue hair with a white streak. Good evening, Elder. So, what's the job? Mr. Edmund has been marked. Mr. Edmund, District Attorney? Him. Interesting. Any ideas why he was marked? He put a lot of bad people in jail. No, but we will know once it's done. Understandable, I will begin immediately. Mr. Edmund, huh? First I should observe him and see what I can come up with. Witch cops. Every day he has dinner at Lordini's. It might be a good place to corner him. A public space. A background check shows no ownership. Apparently he just likes the place.
I could keep you in darkness forever under my hat.
I don't want that to happen, Glimdark. That or someone from the staff. I notice he always orders with the same girl. I should do some background checking on her too. Colleen Mars, 25, seems normal, works at the restaurant, social media seems active. She does seem like a workaholic though. Weird. Plan the ritual. I already have most of what I need for the death curse. The only thing missing is an adder's fork, according to this recipe. Ancient recipes usually have animal parts involved. It was common back then. Nowadays, some are on risk of extinction. The organization prefers to avoid non-human animals as a whole, and most of us are glad to avoid animal cruelty. So we have to find substitutes instead. The words have power, so we find meaning behind the words, then the effect is the same. An adder's fork is the forked tongue of a snake, a viper. That's what liars, backstabbers, and cheaters are called. For that I need the tongue of a liar and cut it as a fork. I have a few options in mind for that. Whoops. That's it. I have watched my target and planned my moves. Time to get to work. Apple Tree Private Cemetery should be full of liars who died recently. Rich people are buried there, and maybe some tongues are still intact. According to the news and previous targets from the organization, Mayor Ygritte and Master 37, an internet celebrity, should both be buried in fancy cemetery. Both of them died recently, and both of them were known liars. Lying is not grave something to get you marked. Glimdark's a little in my way. These two were way more than just liars. Mayor Ygritte's election was filled with promises, just like any politician, and he managed to get elected. Nothing surprising so far. During his mandate, he issued a new type of school lunch, supposed to be something healthy that looked like granola bars. The kids started getting sick right after the food started being distributed to the schools. When he was marked and ended by the death curse, then people finally found out he was using sewer roaches to make the bars. Disgusting. Master 37 was the internet's favorite, although he already had been called out for a lot of problematic behavior in the past. He always found excuses. Then they found out he was a member of some Nazi group. He tried excuses again and said he was just hanging out with some pals he knew from school, but facts are facts. Someone marked him and someone ended him. And then the truth came out for everyone. Good riddance. Well, I can choose when I get there. You arrive at Apple Tree Private Cemetery. You find a tree. You could throw your grappling hook on the branch if it was closer. Gladly you came prepared. You blow some root powder to the air and speak the magic words. You speak the language of the tree and it extends its branch to you, giving you a place to climb. You climb the rope and use the tree branch to get inside the cemetery. You sneak your way to where you should go. Proceed. Oh god. Oh, okay, this is a beat. Funny you should say that, Glimdark. You have managed to avoid most of the guards. The area seems clear for now. Time to choose a liar. I'm gonna do the internet celebrity. As you sneak towards the grave, you hear the sound of a shovel digging through wet dirt. The dim light of a nearby post shows the figure of a young man who seems to be wearing merch from Master 37, the famous internet celebrity. You were spotted by the fan. He raised his shovel in a defensive position. I'll pretend I work here. You approach slowly in a non-aggressive manner. You know this is a private area, right? And it's closed for tonight. You're not allowed in here. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Are you a security guard or something? I work here, yeah. You're not dressed like security. Take a step. I'm not security, but I work here. You climbed the wall, didn't you? No. I just walked in during the day and found a place to hide until night. Am I in trouble? You take another step. Wait a minute, has there been a weird echo? I am sorry if there has. You take another step. Not if you leave now. I can't. I must honor him. And another. Look, man, stop screaming, alright? You're gonna alert the guards. I knew you didn't work here. He tries to hit you with a shovel, but the desperate fan has no combat training, unlike you. You take the shovel from his hands and hit him in the head with it. He falls unconscious. You quickly dig the grave in the hopes that no security guards heard the commotion. You're pretty sure you hit the fan hard enough in the head. He will have a hard time remembering this night. You leave him to his fate. There's work to be done. Well, that was close. What matters is I have the tongue now. Time to prepare the ritual. Proceed. You go back to your apartment and make all the preparations for the ritual. Everything is in place. You only need to confront him now. I should decide my method of infiltration. A client won't be able to approach without causing suspicion, but maybe if I draw enough attention to myself. Staff member. I can approach and talk, ask questions, but he goes there every day. I can't mess it up. Before going in, you take another look at the place. People come and go. They enter with a smile and leave with a bigger one. Some don't leave at all. They stay there even after they finish their food. You notice Mr. Edmund, I'm guessing that says at his usual spot, watching infiltrate his customer. Okay, so good to know Frankenstein has left the 2-mile vicinity. You go inside. The smooth jazz and smiling staff feels relaxing. What seemed weird from afar feels cozy now. Take a quick glance at Mr. Edmund while he's looking the other way. A man in a blue shirt and balding head. 2 spots with different colors over his eyebrows. Everyone is smiling at you. You can't help yourself but to smile back. You find a place to sit and see your mark, but he can also see you. It doesn't take long until he notices you. When a member of the staff asks for your name, you say it. Constance. You never do that. You know what names can do, even if they're not your real name. Mr. Edmund sits in front of you. Constance. Actually, let me try this again. Constance, you would make a good customer. You realize what's going on. This place is under his command. The staff, the customers. He's a demon. So, are you ready? Say it, Constance. Your lips are glued. You pull them open with all your strength. Speak the word. As a witch, you know the tongue of demons yourself, and the banishment unbinds him from that place. You sprinkle the salt and pepper in the air, and you finish the ritual. The people are free, confused, lost, but free. You paint a warding sigil on the walls, and you leave. Sushi. I guess that was it, because nothing else is loading now. Alright, that was a pretty neat, little interactive story. I got that game as part of a bundle on itch.io. Okay, I guess it's time for another campfire story. Let's see. I'm gonna check out Spook Hill, which is in Lake Wales. I'm not even sure where Lake Wales is exactly, but I think I have heard of Spook Hill before. It's like this weird thing. You have to park your car like on the hill, and then it sort of feels like you're falling backwards, but you're not, because it's at a very specific angle. Let's see. Okay. You know what? Actually, I'm seeing something at the very beginning of this story that makes me not want to read it, so we're not gonna do that one.
You are on good sides with your gamer skills.
Let's read Ghost Baby, which is in Orlando, Florida. Ghost Baby, Orlando. She hated walking home past the cemetery at night, but their family was too poor to own a car since their father had lost his job in the financial crash of 1929. The Great Depression, they were calling it, and to her the term depression had a double meaning. It was how she felt when she realized she had to drop out of school and get a job, any job, to help put food on the table for her large family. She hated giving up her dream of going to a college and studying to be a nurse. But she was the eldest, and her mother was an invalid and too weak to hold down a regular job. Is that, you know what, is that a bad word to say? I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. I'm not gonna say it again, if I see it in here. She got work waiting tables at the local restaurant, and every evening she walked home past the cemetery. It was an old cemetery and very creepy, with looming tombstones, many old and broken, strange statues, and carvings on the headstones. Dark shadows seemed to follow her as she walked past each evening. There was one particular statue of an angel that watched her wherever she went, with blank eyes that still seemed to register her every move. It made her skin crawl every time she saw it. She always had thought angels were beautiful, but in her mind, this angel represented death, and she hated it more passionately than she had ever hated anything in her life. Damn. The cemetery had come to typify everything that was currently wrong with her life. She tried to work the day shift so that she would not need to pass the cemetery at night, but when one of her fellow waitresses got sick, she was forced to do double duty at the restaurant and walk home past the cemetery after dark. For the first week, she managed to find someone walking her way every night so that she had company, and when she hurried past the graveyard. But 10 days after her shift changed, no one she knew was heading that way. Still, she told herself, it was early enough for the businessmen and women to still be walking the streets. Someone would be there when she arrived. As she turned into the street where the cemetery lay, she realized with a painful thudding of her heart that she had been wrong. There was no one else walking there at night. The street was deserted, and aside from the pools of light cast by a couple of street lamps, it was quite dark. She stopped at the crosswalk, frozen with dread. She could see the line of tombstones, the looming statues, and halfway down the street, she could dimly make out the figure of the angel of death. She swallowed against the bile that rose at the back of her throat. She couldn't walk down that empty street. She couldn't. Shudders of terror ran through her thin frame, and she clutched her coat
Please keep
against...
that thing away from me.
You're not anywhere near it, Glimdark, if you're talking about the angel statue. Shudders of fear ran through her thin frame, and she clutched her coat against her body with shaking hands. A cold breeze swirled down the road and bit right through her. In the pool of light underneath one of the street lamps, she saw the white petals of a flower whirling in a tight circle as if they had been picked up by a whirligig. It was all that remained of a funeral lily. At the sight of the floating petals, she leaped back around the corner and stood with her back pressed against the building, heart pounding in terror. She would go back to the restaurant where it was warm and light. Perhaps she could phone the neighbors, since their own phone had been shut off when they couldn't pay the bill. One of the neighbors would surely run across the street and ask her father to come walk her home. She drew a shuddering breath and sighed in relief at this plan. And then she heard it, the wailing cry of a baby. The sound was coming from the cemetery. She froze, goosebumps crawling up her arms to her shoulders, the hairs on her neck standing on end. What was a baby doing in a cemetery on a chilly winter night? But she already knew to answer that, and her feet, unbidden, were already turning the corner and walking down the empty street towards the cemetery. More than one infant had been abandoned by its parents since the Great Depression hit. Maybe they couldn't afford to feed it, or perhaps it was born out of wedlock. The cemetery was as good a place as any to drop an unwanted infant. Jesus Christ. All the compassion within her, the compassion that made her yearn to become a nurse, was aroused by the baby's cries. She would rescue it and take it to the nearest hospital. She couldn't just walk away, no matter how creepy she found the cemetery at night. She searched the shadows for the source of the noise, bent forward against the strong, cold wind that whistled down the street. In the light of the second street lamp, she saw a bundle lying on a raised tomb. It was not just any tomb. No, it was this tomb that had the statue of the angel of death looming over it. She gulped, her knees weakening so that she staggered and fell against a lamppost. She couldn't do it. She couldn't walk up to that tomb, right under that angel, but she had to. The baby gave a... Okay, I think this is a word that's had a change of meaning since this story was written. Gave a lusty cry, and the sound pierced her heart. She pushed away from the lamppost and hurried through the gate to the cemetery. She kept her eyes fixed on the squirming bundle laying on the lid of the tomb, trying to ignore that statue.
I want to be more like him.
Thanks. Which followed her with its eyes. She snatched up the baby and cradled it in her arms, gazing down into its chubby round face. Its blue eyes were full of tears as it looked up at her. It gave her one last little whimper and then stopped crying. "Hush, little one. You're safe now," she whispered. The baby weighed hardly anything at all, she marveled, turning quickly away from the flickering dark shadows beneath the angel. She hurried towards the gate, anxious to leave this horrible place. With each step, the baby in her arms weighed a little bit more, until her arms felt leaden, and she was afraid she would drop it. She staggered, slowing with each step, and glanced down at the infant. The face she saw made her gasp in horror. It was the twisted, leering face of an old man. Scraggly white hair sprang out all over his head, writhing as if it were alive. It grinned at her through withered lips, bearing sharp fangs, and one tiny clawed hand flashed upward and raked across her cheek. She screamed in pain and horror, throwing the terrible imp away from her. The bundle hit the ground with a thud, and red smoke began billowing out of the blankets. She screamed again and ran for her life, pursued by a flaming cloud of smoke that smelled of brimstone and ashes. The flaming form had taken on the figure of a tiny, demonic man. She leapt through the cemetery gates, and the flaming figure bounced off the empty space between the gates, as if it were an invisible wall. Instantly it vanished, and she fell against a lamppost, shaking with sobs, her legs trembling too much to hold her upright. The whole world had gone silent, save for the heavy gusting of the breeze. A few flower petals blew out of the cemetery and whirled around the lamppost, and into the silence came the wail of a baby. Glancing involuntarily towards the cemetery, she saw the bundle reappear on top of the flat tombstone. All the strength returned to her legs in a flash, and she ran down the haunted street and all the way home. She raced through the kitchen door and slammed it shut behind her. Her mother took one look at her bleeding cheek and hurried over, exclaiming in horror. Her whole family gathered around the table as her mother cleaned the 3 claw marks on her right cheek with antiseptic and carefully bandaged the wound. "A ghost baby," her father said, holding tightly to her hand. "That was a ghost baby you saw in that cemetery. I'm sorry, honey. If I'd known such a thing was haunting that cemetery, I'd never have let you walk home." "What's a ghost baby?" her younger brother asked as she buried her hand against her father's shoulder and wept unashamedly. "I don't rightly know, son. Some folks say it's the spirit of an infant that died before its time." "I'll be sure to hit you up, Lundark." Anyway, where was I? "Others say it's a demon from hell, come to lure unwary victims into its lair to kill them." "Oh," gasped her wide-eyed brother, "I think you had a close escape," he said to his weeping sister. "I think so too," she said, straightening up and wiping her eyes. "I don't ever want to walk down that road again, Papa," she added. "You're not going to," her father said firmly. "I'll talk to the neighbors tomorrow. I'm sure they will drive you to work and back if your mama will babysit for them once a week." "You think they will?" she asked hopefully. "I know they will," he said firmly. And they did. For the next 2 years, her neighbor's handsome son drove her to work each morning and picked her up from work at the end of her shift. And when her father got a new job and she was able to go to the college, her neighbor's son drove her to college too. They married a month after she graduated, and she went to work as a nurse when they got back from their honeymoon. The ghost baby did her a good turn after all, but she never went near that cemetery again. Yeah, that's a good question, Rachel. I don't know. I mean, he said he didn't know that there were ghost babies in the cemetery, but I don't know. If he knew ghost babies existed, like, why? and like, they hung out in cemeteries, why didn't he warn her about that? That was definitely more of a demon baby. I just love the imagery of, like, the old man, though. It's like a medieval baby drawing come to life. Okay, I need to take a break. I'm gonna attempt to put on one of my old Halloween videos while I'm doing that. So it'll be like a little 5-minute video. I'm sure most people watching have already seen it, but I mean, it's a classic.
Okay.
Not sure why it's not playing the video. Hang on. Yeah, I know it's black. I'm trying to get it to do this. Why isn't this working? Okay. I'm just gonna take a regular break instead. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna try again to do Halloween Forever. No promises that it'll work, though. Didn't have a lot of time to prepare for the stream, so it is a little bit janky. Okay. Alright. We have video now. It just might be actually, no, that looks fine. So, okay, we finally have the video for this game. I don't know much about this game, but, yeah. Deep within a forgotten pumpkin patch, an undead sorcerer lurks. He weaves an ancient spell, and spirits begin to rise. All Hallows Eve, now and forever. Let the nightmare begin.
It reminds me of someone dying.
Thank you, Glimdag. Okay. The controls are a little interesting on this. It's the arrow keys and then ZX and CV. Oh, I accidentally exited out, didn't I? Okay. Z. Okay, Z is for that. For select, I see. Of course I'm going with Pumpkin Man. Level 1, Forgotten Cemetery. Yeah, I only played this game, just like for a minute or two to make sure it would work on my computer. Wait, can I go back out? Ooh, I really love the look of this place. Oh no! The green fire is the best. Why did I do that? Pro gamer, right here. Okay. Wait, oh shit. Those insta-kill you, huh? Can I get up there? I feel up on that ledge feels like something I might be able to access later with more abilities, maybe. Oh! Oh! Jump, man. Okay. Let's play seriously now. Glimdark, I actually can't see what you're saying. Like, this game is, even though on the stream you are above it, on my computer, this game is just blocking you out. And I could not really understand you there either, so... I don't mean to ignore you, Glimdag, but... Glimdark. Oh my god. Those traps are kind of terrible. Oh, fuck, what does this thing do? Oh my god, the green skeleton is great. Really use a heart. Heck yeah. Oh no. Oh no! Oh fuck. Dang, all the way back. things impervious to attack. So what happens if I go up here? Although it's pretty difficult. Ah! Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna risk it at this point. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this boss again. Fucking hell, he moves fast. Fuck. No, Glimdark! Okay, I was still for 10 seconds. Can you tell I'm not the greatest at, platformers? This thing's insta-kill. You know, when I was a kid, I used to love playing this trick or treat, like Kids Next Door Flash game. Had music kind of like this. Anybody know the Flash game I'm talking about, where it was like you could, I think you would switch between the different kids who were in. No, you would switch between monsters actually. Each monster had like different abilities. Each different abilities that would like be able make them be able to access different areas and reach candy. It was something like that. Like there was the creature from the Black Lagoon which could swim. There was a vampire which could turn into a bat and fly. That's all I'm remembering at the moment. But this is giving me a little bit of vibes of that. Oh shit. The secret that I can only hit him from behind. Foster's Home Trick-or-Treat game. Huh. don't want to kill these wizards. I want to be one of these wizards. You know, reading that comment, somehow I never realized that Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was a play on the term foster home. I don't know how I never realized that. Fuck. Again, can't really understand what you're saying, Glendark. Something about Frankenstein, I think. Figure out like the way these guys move so I can figure out how that boss is gonna move. Do they just run when they see you? Oh shit. God, I wish I could beat one of these skull wizards. They look so cool. Several... oh shit, I didn't know those bones had, splash damage. Several, channels streaming 2000s era Halloween cartoons. Interesting. Might have to check one out. I watched a little bit of, Courage the Cowardly Dog the other night. Glendark, do you watch, early 2000s creepy cartoons? Okay. Gonna try again. Try to get over here first. Oh shit. Oh! Okay. So he's gonna charge if I hit him from the front, I guess. Or he's gonna charge when I hit him at all. So I need to hit him from the back. Fuck. Oh, okay, there we go. Heck yeah. Please tell me there's not something oh my god, I don't get any more hearts? Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh. Ooh, I love the scarecrow. Oh. No way. I swear, if it sends me all the way back to the beginning of the game... Oh my god, it is gonna do that. Well, at least I know how to beat the boss now. I'll give this one more try to get through, I guess, this whole level. And, something up there. And if I can't, then, it'll be time for another Campfire story. Years ago, I also started playing the SNES game. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was one with like this demon named Firebrand. It was also like a gargoyle, I think. It was very spooky and cool. Oh, it's Demon's Crest, that's what it was. But I didn't get far, because, like this game, it is not an easy game. So I'd say it was a lot harder. More stuff up there, but like, can I destroy these? No. Oh no. Oh, yeah, sure, I can turn the game volume down. Hang on. Or is that better? Hopefully not too quiet now. You know what Nintendo really needs to bring back? The the slasher Goombas that were in Super Mario Land 2. If I continue trying to get up there, I'm just gonna die. Glimdark, I don't think you need to suck blood to, like, torment people. You seem to be very good at it. Okay. Not gonna fool around trying to get up there anymore. Just go through the boss. Why did I do that? I said I'd do one more try, but that was a very weird fuck up there, so I will do this now. Just once more. Why did I do that again? That was kind of impossible right there. Hold on, this stance right here is pretty funny. Kind of relatable in a strange way, just crouch on the ground, candy corn emerging from my mouth. I feel like Mario Odyssey could have, if they wanted to go like further with being like different, they could have brought back the slasher Goombas. Heck yeah, full health. Nah, I'm not gonna look for secrets at the moment. Is that scarecrow gonna come to life? No. Okay, good.
Death isn't always permanent.
Death is not always permanent, but in this game, it means I have to go... Oh, okay, good. I don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the game. Good. Would one of you like to drop a heart, please? What if I do go over here? Say heck it. Actually, that's kind of easier. Oh, good. Relatable pose. Save the heart for later. Except I can't. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. What is this? Excuse me? What is this, like, gloopski? That was the Skung. Whoops. Alright, well, I don't intend to make the entire stream about this game, so we will move back to doing another story for now.
I'm using magic to check if Frankenstein is here. I will save for now. I love killing. I love murder so fucking much. I love the way you play this game. It reminds me of someone dying. Death isn't always permanent.
Oh my god, you said, are you looking for a story? I just realized I read an entire story. I read an entire story, and OBS had put my mic on mute for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna read this story again. Sorry about that.
I like that thing.
Thank you, Glimdark. It took me a while to put that fire together in this dimension. Okay. Time to read this story again. Okay. Now this does involve some, like, stuff about, like, colonialism, Spanish colonialism, and, stuff like that, so be warned. Also, yeah, it's just an old story is all. And a side note is that this talks about the Castillo de San Marcos, which is this big sort of like fort that's kind of like a castle in St. Augustine, Florida. In the end, what enraged him more than the love affair itself was the way they assumed he had the intelligence of a wooden post. Did they think he wouldn't notice the way his wife lit up whenever his first officer entered the room, or the way the first officer followed her with his eyes? Obviously, they thought he was too stupid to realize how they both just happened to appear at the same time, and that when they reappeared, she was glowing and his uniform smelled of her rose perfume. It was infuriating. His father had warned him against taking such a flirtatious, pretty woman to wife. She would stray, he had said, and devil curse him, his father had been right. And his men were laughing at him behind his back. They knew what was going on. Oh, yes, they did. He was a laughingstock because of his wife and his first officer, and it was going to stop tonight. He would make sure of it. When his wife swept into his commandant's quarters in the Castillo, he was seated at his desk, apparently absorbed in paperwork. She had been pouting for days, ever since he'd sent his first officer south to the Caribbean with an important commission that would keep him away from the Castillo for more than 2 years. She flounced into a chair and glared at him in petty anger. "Well?" she said peevishly when he refused to look up. He glanced at the door and nodded to the night guard who stood there. The man tactfully withdrew from the room, closing the heavy door behind him. Yeah, 1 second, I can turn the ambience down. Getting these audio levels right is a little bit tricky. "Well," she said peevishly when he refused to look up. He glanced...
Ghosts are scary.
Yes, ghosts are scary. Though you are one. He glanced at the door and nodded to the night guard who stood there. The man tactfully withdrew from the room, closing the heavy door behind him. He leaned back in his chair, his nostrils twitching as the cloying scent of her rose perfume filled the room. "Well, my dear, it seems we're at an impasse," he said. "I am happy working in this new world, but you are not happy living here. Or should I say, you are not happy living here with me?" His wife looked up sharply, going a little pale at the tone of his voice. She searched his eyes, trying to see what, if anything, he knew about her and her lover. "What nonsense have you got in your head?" she asked, trying to sound playful and failing. "I am perfectly happy here with you." "You have not seemed so for the past few months," said the commandant. He rose from his seat and beckoned to his wife. "However, perhaps the surprise I have for you will mend matters. Come, walk with me." "A surprise? For me?" asked his wife, half delighted and half suspicious. She rose with a dubious smile on her red lips, and he bowed her through the door into the outer chamber, where the night guard stood to attention. As the commandant took his wife's arm, he said loudly, "There is a ship in the harbor that leaves for Spain at first light, my dear. I'm sure the captain would be happy to oblige us when we explain the situation to him." His wife gave him a puzzled look at this sudden change of topic, but it was not for her benefit that he broached it. He saw the guard start a little, and then school his face to impassivity as they swept out into the courtyard, arm in arm. The commandant smiled grimly. The night guard would certainly pass along what he'd heard to the other men, fueling the speculation about the commandant and his unfaithful wife. What was all that about a ship? His wife demanded petulantly as they crossed into the courtyard.
What's that?
I don't even see what you're pointing at, Limdark. It's all part of the surprise, he told her soothingly as he led her into an unused storeroom and escorted her inside. Why are we here? His wife demanded sharply, staring at the broken pieces of furniture and dusty wooden crates that filled the room. This is no place to hide a gift. On the contrary, my dear, said the Commandant happily. It is the perfect place to hide something. So saying, he led her to a concealed opening in the wall. His wife stared at it. What is that? She asked suspiciously. Why have I never seen it before? It is a hidden room I discovered some time ago, said the Commandant. It is a place to store secret things. He lifted the torch from its socket beside the storeroom door and went to the dark opening. With a smile, he gestured for his wife to precede him into the secret room. The scent of her rose perfume filled the air as she stepped inside to see her surprise. At dawn the next morning, the Commandant stood on the pier, waving goodbye to the ship bound for Spain. When the ship disappeared over the horizon, he strolled thoughtfully back to the Castillo and explained to his men that his wife had left for Spain to attend to her ailing father. The soldiers exchanged looks, but none of them said anything in front of him. However, he knew that amongst themselves they would spread a different tale, one that claimed the Commandant had discovered his wife's affair with the first officer and had separated the lovers, sending the officer to the Caribbean and banishing her to Spain for her infidelity. The Commandant didn't care what the gossip said. What mattered was that his unfaithful wife and her lover was gone, and he was a free man. A few months later, the Commandant resigned his position and left the Castillo for good. He left behind only vague rumors about his wife's scandalous love affair that had gone awry. 50 years swiftly passed by, and the story of the Commandant's unfaithful wife had faded from the memory of the townspeople. Florida was now part of the United States, and the Castillo had become Fort Marion. New faces and new concerns filled the stone rooms and towers, and one of those faces belonged to Sergeant Tuttle. On this particular day, his main concern was moving some old cannons around the upper gun deck. Not an easy task at the best of times. Now, I've done this Sergeant Tuttle voice. I think it's one of my best voices ever. So, you get prepared for some very quality voice work for the man named Tuttle. Heave, he told his men. Heave, they answered. Doing so, crash went the cannon right through the door. Holy Moses, shouted Tuttle, staring down into the huge
Murder
hole
can be fun if you plan it out right.
that had opened up in the floor of the gun deck. He could barely make out the cannon at the bottom amidst the dust, debris, and filtered sunlight. What a god-awful mess. You men, get down there right now, he added, pointing to the two men closest to the stairs. The men hurried down the stairs and into the room below the gun deck, only to find it devoid of debris. There were no cannons, no mess, no dust. Nothing was amiss. The men stared wide-eyed at each other, and then checked the adjoining rooms. Still nothing. Where was the dang blasted cannon? The two men ran up to the gun deck to inform Tuttle of the disappearing cannon. The sergeant, still staring down the hole, commented that it was taking his men far too long to appear. He jumped a mile when one of them spoke at his elbow. "Sarge, we can't find the cannon," the man reported. Tuttle jerked upright and whirled around. "What do you mean you can't find the cannon? It's right there." He gestured into the hole. "It may be right there," said the man, quaking but defiant. "But it isn't down there." He gestured into the room below. The two men dragged Tuttles downstairs and showed him the empty room. By this time, most of the men working on the gun deck had followed them downstairs. There was quite a crowd when the sergeant pronounced, "There must be a sealed chamber behind that wall. Men, we need pickaxes and sledgehammers." Immediately, the soldiers dispersed to locate the requested tools, and soon several men were hammering away at the coquina wall with a will, speculating between blows about the reason the newly christened cannon room had been sealed. As the first hammer penetrated the secret room, the air was suddenly filled with an overwhelming scent of roses. A moment later, the hole was big enough to peer inside. The men ripped away at the hole until there was room to enter the hidden chamber. Grabbing a lantern, Tuttle stepped into the secret space, followed by his men. There, amidst the dust and rubble, stood the fallen cannon. And behind it, chained to the wall, were two moldering skeletons. One still wore the decaying remains of a first officer's uniform, and the other still smelled faintly of roses. And that's the story. Okay. Next game. Next game, I also don't know if it's gonna play very well, because it's like, it seems to be some kind of arcade-style game, but it plays in the tiniest window for some reason, and also Windows thinks it's a virus. But we'll see. Oh, okay. Now it's not playing in the tiniest window, so that's good.
I love the way you play this game. It reminds me of someone dying.
Thank you, Glimdag. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this volume down a bit, because I don't know how loud it is, but I can imagine it'll probably be pretty loud. Okay. Let's do story. Well, Marjorie, it's finally... Hold on, I can't keep doing these voices right now. My poor throat. My poor throat can't handle it too much. Or... Well, Marjorie, it's finally Cosmic Rain time. The Blobmancer Witch Fest. Whoa. Okay, so Enter pauses it, and this is a really cool pause screen. Wait. Okay. And you know what that means. You must put the pen and papers aside and start to show me what you learned in this years of studies. If you complete all the lessons in this Cosmic Rain, you'll become a real blobmancer. But remember, when the clouds cover the moon, the cosmic rain will end, and so will your lessons, so you better be quick. Your first lesson is very simple. Take a red blob and simply drop it on the cauldron. Press the J to pick up and drop, and move using WASD. Oh jeez. There's already a heckin' skeleton man coming at me. Or pumpkin man, not skeleton man. Okay, wow, that is a... Okay, these controls are a little bit to get used to. Wait, can I just do this? Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, whoops. So wait, what exactly do I need to do at the moment? One second.
I think I just saw Frankenstein behind you.
Oh fuck, Frankenstein's behind me? Okay. I'm gonna need to read the instructions on what that person actually told me again. Okay. Okay, it's not responding to that. Hang on. Let's try this again real quick. Well, Madry, it's finally cosmic rain time. Okay, oops. Okay, you must put down the pen and papers. Okay, remember, when the clouds cover... First lesson is very simple. Take a red blob and simply drop it on the cauldron. That's what I did. Or do I need to... Right, okay. Oh, that gate opened! Okay. I did not notice that the first time. Congratulations. Now, can you do the same, but with the red and green blobs? Remember, you have to do it in order, or the spell will reject it. Okay, she said red and green, right? Whoa, exclamation point. For this lesson, let's see if you can figure it out on your own. Okay. I noticed the stuff at the bottom, so it's gonna be red, green, then blue. Okay, this lesson is where the real challenge begins. Do you see that pumpkin boy? You will need his head for this recipe, and for that you must use the blob powers. Put 3 blobs of the same color in a vertical line to make them pop. With the alchemy of the explosion, you will get a blob potion. For every different blob color, there is a different blob potion. Now for this lesson, use the blob potions and find a way to get this pumpkin boy head. Okay. Okay, so wait, I missed something, I think. Ow. I got that. Ow. Wait, what the heck? Ah. Blobs are fallen. Ow. Okay. Ouchie. Okay, there's that. Oh. Ow. Ow. I can't move. There we go. Okay. Oh heck, did I get him? Heck yeah. Note that, in this stage, only 1 potion of each type is allowed at the same time. If you create a blob potion and don't take it, the next blob pop won't generate a new potion of the same color until you pick the one that is already on the map. Alright? Ah! So this is a... Ow. I think I need to get the blue. Ow. Fuck. Okay. Okay, so we got that. But I probably should have done the stuff in order first. There's that. That, and now... Oh, see ya, Emily. Ow. Okay. Do you see the flying furry cutie? It's a moth boy. If you use the blob magic on it, you can catch its feather. It's very good for magic recipes, and maybe for this lesson too. Well, I don't want to steal the moth boy's feather. Not why would I want to steal from a furry cutie? Well, actually, I can think why, because a lot of furry cuties are suspiciously rich, so I could definitely steal from them. Okay, so red is red, green, blue a lot. I forget which what is ow? Forget which potions she said to use on the flying cutie. Oh shit. Wait a minute. There we go. Oh heck. What did she say to use this for? I don't know. Heck, another one spawned.
What's that?
Oh, okay, I see. I see. The purple blobs are too heavy to move. Get rid of them by popping any kind of blob close to them. Oh fuck, okay. Okay, I can't get too close, it would seem. God dang it. Frick or freak, as they might say. Ow. Oh my god. Oh my god, finally. Oh no. Well, I'm actually not gonna try again. This is a fun game, don't get me wrong, this is nice. But I do wish, if I could give one criticism, aside from, I guess, like the floaty controls, I would say I do wish this had more than one short soundtrack. I'm gonna take a short break. I'm gonna try, actually, I'm gonna try playing my my old video again. Then when I get back, I'm gonna find one more story to read, and then that'll be it for the stream, I think. You know what? Sorry, just trying to play the video doesn't seem to work, so we'll just go to a regular break.
Add that to your inventory.
Okay, I'm back. Actually, wait, hang on. That's the correct one. Here we go. OBS keeps muting this mic. I am so glad I noticed it this time. Well, since Daytona, USA is kind of a meme, not a meme, an inside joke on my channel, I guess I have to read the one that's in Daytona, which is called Pink, unless I see something, again, at the beginning that makes me not want to read it. Pink in Daytona. Daytona. Okay, and I have not read this story before. I guess I already made that obvious, but yeah, I haven't, so... Here we go. She was always in the garden, day after day after day. It drove him crazy. Every waking hour was spent in the garden, which meant that supper never came when he wanted it, and he had to go outside and kneel down in the dirt every dad blames time he wanted to have a conversation with his wife. Oh, this guy just sounds delightful. When he complained, she told him to go get his own supper, even though she knew he was so bad at cooking that he could burn a pot of boiling water. So get some pizza, she said. He didn't like pizza. How do you not like pizza?
I'm using magic to check if Frankenstein is nearby. He is within 2 miles of your house.
I guess there are some cases about, like, sensory stuff, or like, stuff where you couldn't like pizza, but I kind of feel like that's not this guy's reason. Tough luck, she said. As if pizza's, like, the only option, too, for getting takeout. Like, come on. Tough luck, she said, and kept working in her garden. The garden wasn't the only thing that drove him crazy. His wife also loved the color pink. She wore something pink every dad-blamed day of her life, and most of the flowers in the garden were pink. Pink phlox, pink daisies, pink peonies, and pink roses. Choose another color, he yelled one day when the overwhelming pinkness of the garden made his head ache. So what color did she choose? Mauve. Mauve is just pink in disguise, he grumbled, and his wife laughed at him. She had an infectious laugh, and after frowning for a moment longer, he laughed too. Overall, his wife was a great lady to have around, and he'd marry her again in an instant. She had a great deal of charm, and she cooked divinely when she had a mind to cook. The house was always clean and neat, if a little too pink on the interior for his taste, and their garden was really a showplace. She put up with his funny little ways, keeping the medicine cabinet in precisely the order he liked it, and making sure he had fresh cantaloupe every day for breakfast. At least she couldn't turn that pink, he conceded, even if she did serve it on a plate rimmed with pink roses. They were getting a bit in the years when his wife started complaining about her knees. She had some arthritis in them, and kneeling was difficult. She wanted an assistant to help her in the garden during the afternoons. Why do you need an assistant? He grumbled. Do you want to help me? Or what, do you want to help me? She retorted. Heck no, he replied, and told her to go ahead and hire a gardener. He didn't expect the handsome young fellow who showed up the next day to help his still attractive wife in the garden. The fellow was well set up too, with plenty of muscle and a charming manner that soon had his wife laughing and fluffing up her hair as they talked amongst the flowers. That drove him really crazy. She never fluffed her hair for him, dad blame it. And his wife, for all her arthritis, was still fairly young and good-looking to boot. Some folks might think it was natural for her to find the new gardener charming. There was nothing in it, they might say, but he wondered. Oh, how he wondered. He started coming home early from work to spy on his wife and the new gardener. They were always talking and laughing together as they worked. He didn't like it. Then his wife went out and brought a brand new red lipstick, though she'd only ever bought pink lipstick before. That really made him suspicious. And she went out and got her hair cut in a new style that made her look years younger. That made him hopping mad. Something was up between her and the gardener. He knew it, but he could never catch them doing anything but digging and planting and weeding in the garden. It drove him crazy. Finally, he confronted the new gardener in the driveway one afternoon while his wife was out buying seedlings at the garden center. The young man denied that there was any hanky-panky going on between himself and his female employer, but her husband knew better and fired the gardener on the spot. When his wife returned, he told the gardener he'd gone home ill, and she believed him. During dinner that evening, he confronted his wife with his suspicions. "I'm not having an affair," she retorted, when she realized the direction his questions were taking. "But if you keep this up, he could get lucky." Ooh. Her smart reply filled him with rage. A red-hot mist filling his eyes, he grabbed blindly for his wife and started shaking her, his hands closing around her neck. It was several minutes before he calmed down enough to realize he was shaping a limp ragdoll figure that was no longer breathing. It took another moment to drop his wife's dead body on the floor in horror, realizing what he'd done and what would happen to him if he got caught. Fortunately for him, the ground was always disturbed around his house because of his wife's incessant gardening. He just needed to stir up the latest patch, dump his wife's body underneath it, and cover the grave mound with the pink flower seedlings his wife had just bought back from the garden center. End of problem. He closed the house the next day, telling their friends and neighbors that they were going north to be near his wife's ailing sister. Then he went far away from the house among the pink flowers and tried to forget. A few years later, he sold the house to a young couple who seemed delighted by the neglected garden and paid his asking price without any dickering. When 7 years had passed without suspicion from the authorities, he decided it was safe to come home. He got an apartment in town and settled down to resume some of his old friendships and activities. Anyone who asked was told that his wife had left him some time ago, and he didn't like to talk about it. Respecting his wishes, his acquaintances never brought up the subject, but he realized one day that he was still frightened of the discovery. He had to know if his wife was still buried in the garden. He started watching his old house, waiting for the young couple to leave so he could check the hidden grave. When the young couple left for a weekend, he slipped into the garden at dusk and hurried quietly to the place where he had buried his wife. To his shock and horror, he saw that the old grave mound was still planted with pink flowers, and those flowers formed the shape of a woman. His hands were shaking as he prodded the soil with a spade. He dug a deep, narrow hole, poking down carefully to feel for his wife's bones, but he found nothing. He dug deeper, widening the hole in panic. Still nothing. Her body was gone. Alarmed, he made the discreet inquiries around the neighborhood the next day, speaking only to people who had never met either himself or his wife. One of them told him that the young couple had
no movement for 10 seconds.
Had found a family gravesite on the property and had the grave moved to the local cemetery since they did not wish to maintain the grave at their own expense. He felt a surge of relief at this explanation, but morbid curiosity sent him along to the cemetery to check on the truth of the tale. He walked around for a long time, searching for a grave with no name. Perhaps it had no stone either. He could not be sure. Then he caught a glimmer of pink, and the pulse started pounding painfully in his wrists and neck. Could it be? He walked towards the place, his left arm tingling painfully. Yes, there was a narrow There was a narrow grave with no name attached to it, covered with pink flowers. It was his wife. He knew it was. At that moment, the red mist rose once again before his eyes. The tingling in his left arm became a sharp pain, and he felt his body arch in agony before he tumbled down among the pink flowers. The whole world went dark, and his last thought was of the ragdoll figure in his hands that had once been his happy wife. A caretaker found his body later that evening. When the authorities removed it, the pink flowers he had crushed on his fall never grew back on the unmarked grave. To this day, there is still a body-sized swath cut through the pink flowers that grow across the unmarked grave. And in the old house where the couple once lived, the pink flowers on the empty grave mound still grow each spring in the shape of a woman's body, no matter how many times the owners have uprooted them and planted something else in their place. And that's the story. Oh, flower wife. For some reason, the illustration in the book shows, like, the flowers just growing on the ground and, like, they're sprouting up. And that's, like, forming the shape of a woman. But when I read it, for some reason, I imagined, like, a big rose bush just, like, forming a human shape, like, as it's growing out of the ground. And that's kind of terrifying imagery. But I also just imagine be like, oh, flower wife. Please.
I used to check if Frankenstein is here. I will save for now.
Good to know, Glimdark. I want to kiss flower wife. So, that's the stream. Because it's getting kind of late for me. So, thanks for watching, and happy Halloween, and say goodbye to Glimdark, for now at least, because they were here for the month of October, and they're, unless I play, like, maybe a really dark horror game or something, they're probably not going to come back, like Darker Than Rusty Lake. I'm not sure, maybe I'll bring them back for Rusty Lake, but for now, I'm planning that we're just a Halloween thing. Glimdark is gonna go back to, tormenting and murdering people a lot after this. But have a good night, and watch out for fucking werewolves, I guess.